back in primary school, I got a fish bone stuck in my throat and I could not trust my parents afterwards. So here's what happened. So it was a long day at school, and after I got back home, I just wanted to enjoy a good meal and then just sleep like any other child at that age. And tonight was particularly like different because we had seafood, and seafood isn't something we usually eat. It's kind of like, you know, once in a while we have seafood. And one of those reasons is just because I hated eating like seafood, especially anything with like any sort of like bones. I just always had the like fear that if I eat it, it'll get like stuck in my throat, or like I'll just choke on it and I'll just like die from like bleeding or something. And I guess lucky for me, I didn't have to wait too long until that fear became a reality. So literally that night, as I was like, you know, just in the middle of my meal, as I just, you know, swallowed my food, I just felt something sharp get stuck into my throat. And I just panicked like straight away. I was like, Mom, Dad. And they came over, they were like, what's up? You know, and then I was just pointing to my throat, like, you know, choking. And eventually they got the idea that there was something stuck in my throat. And to this day, I'm still not sure, like, you know, how big the bone was, or like even if there was a bone. But when like my parents like looked, there was definitely something like shiny there. So potentially there was like a small bone, nothing like too sharp where it literally like, you know, causes like bleeding or anything. But it was just like sharp enough that it was just uncomfortable. You just feel like there's something just like stuck in your throat. And what next? What I do? Well, I obviously panicked, but my parents had a solution, which was just to take shots of vinegar. And so that's what I did for the next few hours. And so I literally like washed up, got into bed, and I was still taking shots of vinegar because I could still feel something in my throat. And that was basically what happened that day. I was in bed, tucked in, with my lamp on, taking shots of vinegar every couple of minutes to see if it would dissolve the bone, to gradually like dissolve it. And eventually I just like fell asleep. Maybe it was from vinegar overdose or something. But luckily the next day I kind of woke up and it felt much better. And over the next few hours it all went away. So overall, that was the end of that story. And so the reason I wanted to share this story is not to, you know, scare you from eating seafood, but it got me thinking, like, the reason I started like taking like shots of vinegar was like my parents just told me to do it and I just did not question it at all. Now obviously I was like, you know, in primary school, I didn't know any better. But the lesson I really realized is that sometimes we have a tendency to just trust like our parents or people that we're familiar with simply because we know them, even though they may not have like the credibility to, you know, back up whatever they're saying. Now, I'm not saying I'm not grateful for my parents trying to help. And again, this story isn't like specifically related to the fish. I'm just speaking like in general. It's the idea that even though we're familiar with someone, their advice may not necessarily be the best. And sometimes we have to do our own due diligence to like truly understand what the most effective solution is. Like now, when I tell this story to my parents, they're like, oh yeah, you should have just like ate like some bread or something, basically something solid to like push the bone down. And that would have solved it like very quickly. And so I realized that, you know, everyone learns with like time, everyone improves every day. And sometimes if we want to like get the most effective outcome for whatever situation, this could be like for your health, this could be during work, it could be for your relationships. We can't just simply like blindly trust the people we're familiar with, whether that be friends, family, your teachers even. We have to critically think about what they're saying and whether it makes sense for our situation. So that was the lesson I've learned. And now it's not like I don't trust my parents at all. It's more that I always critically analyze whatever they're saying, and this is for everyone. I critically analyze whatever anyone is saying before I take it into my own like worldview. And I think that's been a very valuable lesson to me.